turns out that House Republicans are signing on to Donald Trump's ridiculous allegations of widespread voter fraud, even though there's no evidence of that. So one of the biggest breaking news stories today is that a group of 106 Republican House members, that's more than half of the GOP caucus in the chamber, signed an amicus brief filed Thursday, today, in support of a lawsuit backed by President Trump that seeks to overturn the election. Now, this is in regard to the lawsuit that was originally filed by the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, who again is facing some pretty serious securities fraud charges and is being investigated for that. And maybe he's hoping that this is a way of getting a pardon from Donald Trump. But after he had filed that lawsuit directly with the Supreme Court, asking that the court essentially overturn the results specifically in 4 battleground states that Biden won. 17 other attorneys general joined that lawsuit. And now we're learning that 106 House Republicans have filed a brief saying that they are supportive of that lawsuit. The brief was led by Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana. And in an email to his colleagues, he apparently claimed that he was personally recruited by Donald Trump in order to gather a group of Republican lawmakers to file this brief. And it appears that there was a form of political intimidation involved as well, because as we know, if someone doesn't sign on to what Donald Trump demands, he will attack them viciously on social media, which will lead to all sorts of pro-Trump supporters, going after these particular individuals who have been targeted by Trump, which shows you how unbelievably feckless and pathetic these Republican lawmakers are. 106 Republican lawmakers, that's 54% of House Republicans.
Yeah, so a couple of layers to this. First of all, Texas is a toxic stew of these government officials. Remember, their Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is the one that said, "What's the big deal if older people get coronavirus?" Well, hey, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, mission accomplished. They have it. We're breaking a record every single day. Over 3,000 people dead again yesterday and the day before and the day before. So you wanted everybody, and especially the elderly, to get coronavirus. They did. So congratulations, Republican politicians in Texas. Now, Paxton comes in and goes, "Hey, why don't we destroy democracy while we're at it?" So in this lawsuit, we're asking that Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, et cetera, those states no longer have sovereignty. States' rights that we were complaining about when we wanted to enslave black people and rip their families apart and break their bodies and own them. We loved states' rights then. Now, when our dictator wannabe has not been elected, now we hate states' rights. So we want to take Georgia's states' rights away, Pennsylvania's states' rights away, and we want to say that Texas should unilaterally decide who's the president, despite how other states voted. I mean, it's laughable, it's preposterous, it's the most undemocratic, most un-American thing you've ever seen. So of course, the majority of the Republican Party is here for it, because that's who they are. They're traitors, and the right wing has always hated America. Oh, they don't want us to own slaves. Let's declare war on America, just so we can own other people and oppress them for the rest of time. Now, these guys realize, we can't ever win another national election. Trump lost the popular vote by 3 million last time. He lost it by 7 million this time. Like, that's it, it's hopeless. We're never gonna win in a democracy. Well, when minority ethnic groups were in the minority and they couldn't win, it was great. We crushed them. Right? Now, when they're in the majority and we're in the minority, we need minority to rule. No deal. It's a democracy. Now, they never, ever believed in democracy. They never believed in America. I told you. So those 106 traitors to America, the most un-American people I have ever seen, now sign up to this ridiculous lawsuit saying, let's toss out who won. We don't care who won. We want a dictatorship. We want tyranny. We demand tyranny. Now, in this case, they're the minority. So they're saying before the majority being tyrannical was awesome. Now we want the minority to be tyrannical and rule over you, even though we lost, because we hate America.
So there's a fantastic political scholar who teaches at CUNY, and he specifically talks about how, and this is a theory that I think was controversial at first, but it makes a lot of sense. Donald Trump as a president, as a Republican president, is actually an incredibly weak president, mostly because the lack of popular support he has. I mean, when you think about the popular vote in 2016 and now the popular vote in 2020, it's abundantly clear that the majority of American voters do not want Donald Trump. And so as a result, what Republicans rely on increasingly in order to win, knowing that they don't have popular support, is essentially screwing around with the institutions, right? Screwing around with the courts, engaging in gerrymandering, doing what they can to essentially fix the system to their advantage against the will of the people. And that's what we're seeing right now in this particular case. One other thing I do want to mention is that there are some congressional Republicans who are certainly against this lawsuit, and they're against the brief that was led by Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana. I want to name some of them. So just 2 Republican House members, both of whom are outgoing, have gone on the record opposing the lawsuit, with Representative Paul Mitchell from Michigan calling it a loyalty test, and Representative Denver Riggleman from Virginia telling Forbes, quote, "I really respect some of these people, but this stuff is preposterous. That list is being built on disinformation." Also, I should add that a handful of prominent Republicans, including former Senators John Danforth and Lowell Wicker from Connecticut, and former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman, filed their own brief opposing the case, while Ohio's Republican Attorney General filed a brief arguing federal courts lack authority to order legislatures to appoint electors without regard to the results.
Yeah, I don't want to give you a misleading impression. That's a tiny percentage of the Republican Party, and most of it is a dead portion of the Republican Party. So Christine Todd Whitman was actually a moderate Republican back in the day. There are no moderate Republicans left. Riggleman's leaving, I think, and every Republican that is moderate is leaving because their base hates them. Their voters loathe America. They're like, I don't want a democracy. You support a democracy, we're going to primary you. That's the most ironic thing in the world. But they genuinely believe that. So, and Danforth is a good guy. He's a conservative Republican, but actually believes in America. But he hasn't been in power in decades and decades. So no, the active Republican Party, now we should rename it the Confederate Party, because that's who they are. And so it's the new Confederacy risen again, and now they're talking about secession. Donald Trump this morning tweeted about, quoting some deranged person on OANN, said that things are going to, quote, escalate dramatically. This is a very dangerous moment in our history, and a coup is taking place in front of our eyes, and the public can't take this anymore. And Trump retweeted that like, yeah. It's actually not even a retweet. He took the quote and tweeted it himself. And he's like, that's a very dangerous moment, everybody. Remember, let's take action right now. So he's a clear, he also tweeted that, Biden lost by hundreds of thousands of legal votes. No, schmuck, you lost by 7 million votes this time. And he said he's an illegitimate president. You lost by 3 million votes last time. You were an illegitimate president. By your own definition, you've never been legitimate. But of course, logic need not apply for the Confederate Party. So any Republican that still supports this a slow motion political coup, I've said it before and I'll say it 1,000 times again. You are un-American, you hate our country, and you should all be voted out of office. But you probably will say, oh, well, yeah, I know, but I don't, votes. We don't want democracy, we just want to grab guns and make it a dictatorship of the right wing. That's what you've always wanted. So just admit it. Admit it, you hate America. Just admit it. And luckily, the only reason why I'm not even more furious is finally some portions of the mainstream media have woken up and they're like, yeah, wait a minute, this does look like a bit of a coup attempt. It might not succeed, but it's definitely a coup attempt. And this is very radical and clearly undemocratic. Yeah, thank you. You're a little late to the party, but I really do appreciate it because you need clarity on this issue. And last thing, guys, what part of losing 56 times is unclear? You went to court You said you had the Kraken and you had all the evidence. It turns out you had nothing. You don't have any evidence. No, losing 56 times means we're right. Okay, if you say so. And that's why I call them lunatics.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.